Today we're talking about the 5 reasons why INFJs run low on energy and how to get back energized. We have to be aware that we as INFJs have to take this on very proactively. If we don't have enough energy to go about our life, we may be able to keep our head above water. We're going to be able to live like this mediocre life, but we're never really going to tap into our potential because we do have amazing potential to create extraordinary things in our life because of our vision and how our setup is. The thing we need is that physical energy. And so today we're going to look into 5 reasons why we run low on energy and how we can change that, how we can use everything that we got in our arsenal in order to tap into our epic life. Before we get started, I want to remind you, if you haven't done this so far, to download the free poster on the 5 pillars to an INFJ epic life. And if you want to join our amazing INFJ epic life community, then join the bootcamp waiting list. Everything you need to know you can find in the link in the description. You'll get notified once we go live. The next live round will start in August, and you'll also get an early bird code. So make sure you're on that list. Everything else you would want to know you can find in the links in the description. Reason number 1 why the INFJ runs low on energy is just simply our physical setup. We have to be aware that this is just given. Yes, you can change it, you can improve upon it, but the fact is we're very cerebral beings. We're really great with making up our mind, having ideas, having a lot of vision, but we're not the typical person who's going to be a go-getter, who's a workaholic, who's like this bulldozer who continuously does things. We're not the person who we have to be worried about, that's being way too busy all the time, but not really productive. Yes, we have situations where we're constantly doing things, but we're probably even spending more time in our mind. So if you know this, you can optimize for it. You can say, okay, the quick fix, and what a lot of INFJs do who haven't really tapped into personal growth, and what I've done many times, and probably every single one of you as well, is to say, I'm going to team up with somebody. I'm going to have a best friend, a relationship, whoever it may be, and I will sort of have ideas, or I will be their sidekick. I will, look at what the big vision is, and they can execute. The problem with this is that you're never going to go after your life. You're never going to create an INFJ epic life on your terms, because no matter who you team up with, you're always going to make compromises that will not allow you to go after the life you want. You can have somebody by your side, but the path is something that only you can go for and that you can decide. So once you understand, okay, I have to do it myself, I have to go my own path, and the fact is I don't have, an infinite amount of energy, then you can plan for it. Then you can say, I'm an INFJ, I don't have to do all the things, I have to do the right things. So if you know, okay, that's just my setup, I will have a harder time, executing certain things, and, that's just a given. I accept it, you're going to have done the first important step, because then you stop looking left and right. You recognize this is what I can work with, and now let's make the best out of it. Let's optimize it for an INFJ. Because the truth is, yes, there might be some people who are way faster in execution, but you as an INFJ have the power of a vision. You have the power to hold on to an idea and to know how things are going to work out. And you can see something before anybody else sees it. So use that as your superpower, and then use the physical energy that you do have and that you can improve upon in order to make steps towards that vision. Remember, no matter how much faster somebody else is, they're not going to be able to go exactly down your path. You're the only one who can make that happen. Reason number 2 why INFJs run low on energy is just too many people. We have to be aware of that. Most of the time, we feel like there's something wrong with us. Yes, we're introverts. Yes, we need a lot of downtime. But the truth is, we still sort of feel like I should be okay with that. You need to be away from people for a longer period of time. If you are around people, they will pull on your energy. It takes a lot of energy to talk to others, to maintain relationships, to be there for others. And we just have to be aware that we have a finite amount of energy when it comes to this. And most of the time, we overextend ourselves. We can't believe how much other people actually pull on our energy. It's important to have relationships. It's also important to pull from from those relationships and to get inspiration and get excitement, but to understand that, yes, this is one of the reasons why you run low on energy. There is nobody you should compare yourself to. And if you're unsure about this, like really look at situations where you're tired and then somebody enters the room or wants to talk to you on the phone or whatever it may be. These are moments where you're probably going to be even less likely to want to talk to people because it just pulls on your energy. So really look at your life and ask, are there ways for me to minimize the contact with people? So if I work, is there a way for me to work independently? Or if I'm with my family, like, can I make sure that there aren't so many people in my space, because this in itself will really pull on your energy. Reason number 3 why the INFJ runs low on energy is relational obligations. So when we talked about a lot of people in reason number 2, that was all about just having people around you who even talk to each other and just feeling that energy around you. That in itself is pulling on your energy. But when it comes to relational obligations, this is something where you actively put energy into others because you feel responsible for them. You feel like you have to be the one who saves them because who else will? You feel like you have to, help your friend out who again goes through some personal crisis and so on. Doing these things is generous, of course, but we have to really ask ourselves, am I doing this because then I feel good about myself? I feel like I'm valuable? Or maybe I'm doing it because it's easier to focus on them than it is to focus on me. And then you'll recognize that, yeah, of course it makes me feel good if I help other people. It's something I'm good at. It's a skill that I have. But am I really doing it to such an extent that I don't have enough energy left to build up the life that's going to bring more value, not just to me, but to others? But it will actually happen through me. If you continuously give to others from your cup of energy, at the end of the day, there will be nothing left. And you have experienced this when you've been in toxic relationships, anything like this, that you will just give, and will not get anything back. And the more you do that, the less energy you actually have. So even if you want to help them, your energy is so low that you can't really make a difference. And people will actually value you less, which is even worse, right? Because they see, oh, that person doesn't bring any energy to me. There's no excitement there. Like, why bother? Because those kind of people who continuously take from you, they're not going to understand, oh, that person gave to me for so long. Now I'm going to give them back. Because the reason why they continuously take from you is because they can't regulate this. Like when you have givers and takers, the takers are never going to be the ones who will stop this because they say, oh, you've given enough to me. That's just not how it works. It's always the givers who have to stop giving. And I promise you, if you start focusing on yourself and you actually make sure that your cup of energy runs over, then you will have more than enough and then you can give to others. But you're not doing this at the expense of your own energy. So make sure that you give yourself enough free space, enough free time, that you don't get involved in every problem one of your friends or acquaintances have. Because if people know that you're the person to come to, they will come to you continuously and you will feel like there is no other way out. But first and foremost, you have to make sure that you have enough energy before you start giving to others. So rather push yourself into the other direction. Go towards the place where you're afraid you're going to be too selfish, too self-involved. Trust me, if you're a person who's giving in this kind of way, yeah, you're not going to go overboard. Maybe for a minute, but you will find your balance. But you have to be willing to go into that direction. You have to change that dynamic. Otherwise, you'll always feel like you're running low on energy. And if you feel this way, there is no real movement in your life. Reason number 4 why the INFJ runs low on energy is because we think there is no other way out. So many INFJs don't work on their sleep. They don't work on, creating a decluttered house. They don't work on creating a healthy routine and all those things that will help you have more energy, because we feel like that's just who I am. I'm just somebody who doesn't have energy to begin with, because we've experienced this all our life. But the truth is, you can improve upon your physical setup. So yes, work on all of those relationship things. Work on making sure that you have enough downtime. Accept that your baseline on physical energy is probably lower than it is for other people. But also accept that you can improve upon it, incredibly by focusing on particular aspects of your life. Physical energy management is incredibly important for INFJs. That's actually one of the 5 pillars to an INFJ epic life, and one of the things we talk about in bootcamp a lot, because you can improve upon this immensely. Work on your sleep. Make sure that you declutter your house. Create a lot of space for you, a lot of harmony. Allow your vision to actually pull you towards where you're going to go. All of those things are going to improve your energy. The more abundance you have in your life, the more energetic you will be. Like, I have people who continuously ask me, how are you able to get all of that done? And it doesn't seem like I'm doing that much more than I was 15 years ago. But I am. If I actually look at the facts, I am. The reason why it doesn't feel like I'm doing so much more is because it actually doesn't seem that much harder. And it doesn't feel that much harder because I have so much more energy, because I've worked on all of those things. I continuously work on improving upon my physical setup the best way I can. And then I move forward into creating the life that I want. You as an INFJ have the capacity. Don't feel like you have to do all the things, but look at what is the easiest way to improve your energy. Maybe it's working on your sleep, because if you're tired all the time, if you barely can keep your head above water, you're not going to be able to make any moves besides doing the thing that is going to keep you going on your default current mode. And reason number 5 why the INFJ runs low on energy is because we're super focused on maintaining our current energy. So this sounds a little bit paradox, but please hear me out. We know that we don't have a lot of energy. We know that we shy away from confrontations because this will pull energy out of us. We know that we don't want to take on big projects because that will require a lot of energy. But at the same time, we need to take those big steps in order to get to a place where our baseline of energy gets better. So that means if you're in a job where you're continuously working super hard, you're barely getting any money, and aiming for another job will require a lot more energy, then most INFJs hold themselves back. But the truth is, yes, it will require more energy to get that job. But this is a one-time thing. You do that, maybe once, twice, maybe even 5 times. I don't know how often you're going to apply, but it's a one-time thing that you do in order to get to a situation where you have more money, you have more freedom. You probably will have a situation where things are way more organized, so it won't require that much energy. And we have to be aware of that. Yes, it requires one-time effort and it will be a lot of work. It's not something we want to do. But then long term, we will have way more energy. Long term, it will drain less energy out of us. Same thing with relationships. If you have a relationship in your life where you constantly have to walk on eggshells, this pulls energy from you. And yes, having that uncomfortable conversation will pull even more energy from you. You will probably lay flat for a couple of days if you say out your boundaries, if you say out loud that you don't want to do things. That will be uncomfortable. It will be harsh. It will really take a toll on you. But the result is that person isn't going to bother you anymore. Yes, you probably have to do this more than once. You probably have to set out your boundaries a couple of times. But if you mobilize yourself and you're doing this because the result is that person won't bother you anymore, then you will have won. You will be able to re-energize yourself after those conversations. But if you continuously walk on eggshells for 10 years or longer, whatever it may be, you will always be at a base level of energy. If you can be yourself around that person that you see, let's say, every day, then it's definitely going to be worth it to have had those uncomfortable conversations, which drained you a couple of times, but therefore allowed you to blossom in the long term. Remember, if you want some more tips on how to improve your physical energy, then check out the free poster on the 5 pillars to an INFJ epic life. And if you want to take it to the next level, then join our INFJ epic life community through our INFJ epic life bootcamp. Everything you need to know you can find in the links in the description, where you can also sign up for the waiting list. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video when the INFJ finally stops trying to be social. This is what happens.